All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something huge, a really big shift happening in IT right now. We're talking about how AI is completely changing what it means to be a storage engineer. And really, it all comes down to this one big question, right? Is AI coming for their jobs, or is it actually going to make these engineers more powerful than we've ever seen? Let's dig in and find out. Okay, so first, let's kind of take a step back and set the scene. Before AI really exploded in the data center, the life as a storage engineer, well, it was all about intense, manual, hands-on work. I mean, their daily to-do list was just this gauntlet of super complex and honestly often reactive tasks. You've got capacity planning, which is basically like trying to stare into a crystal ball and predict the future. Then there's the constant performance tuning, managing backups, planning for disaster recovery. All of it took some serious technical chops and just a ton of manual effort. And just think about how complex this stuff is. We're talking about being a master of things like RAID, manually stitching together a bunch of physical disks just to make sure data is safe or that the systems are running fast enough. This wasn't some simple checkbox. It was a perfect snapshot of the deep, nitty-gritty manual work that was the job. And then, well, everything started to shift. AI showed up, and not as some, far-off academic theory. Nope. It arrived as a real, practical tool that was about to completely shake up the entire field. So what are we really talking about when we say AI here? Well, simply put, it's about creating systems that can actually look at their own environment and then do something based on what they see. For a storage system, that's a game changer. It means it can suddenly start to understand usage patterns, predict when something's about to break, and automate all those tasks that used to take an engineer hours and hours to do by hand. And this right here, this is where the promise of AI really starts to become reality. The whole idea isn't to make engineers work harder. It's to give them the tools to work smarter, to finally, break free from that old school manual grind. Take a core task like storage provisioning. Just look at the difference. The old way? Slow, totally manual, and just riddled with chances for human error. But with AI, it becomes this automated, intelligent process. It analyzes what an application needs and gives it exactly the right resources. From an efficiency standpoint, that is a total game changer. And look, this isn't just theory. We've got a case study from a big company that put this stuff into practice, and the results are pretty incredible. We're talking a 50% cut in the time it takes to provision storage, a 15% drop in costs, and a 20% increase in how well they use their capacity. Those are real, hard numbers that make a huge difference. So you're probably asking, how is that even possible? Well, a huge part of the secret sauce here is predictive analytics. Think about it. Instead of just reacting to problems after everything's already on fire, the AI is looking at all the historical data to predict what you'll need next. It can spot potential problems before they ever slow things down. It literally turns the engineer from a fighter into an architect. Another really cool capability is something called intelligent tiering. This is where the AI automatically shuffles data around. It moves stuff between the super fast, expensive storage and the slower, cheaper storage, all based on how that data is being used right now. This means you get the best performance and the best cost, and it's all happening automatically without a human having to do a thing. So, okay, with AI taking over all that routine, day-to-day stuff, what happens to the engineer? Well, their role has to evolve. It has to. They're basically graduating from being hands-on technicians to becoming high-level strategists. And you can see that shift in focus right here. They're moving away from the manual tuning and the provisioning. Instead, they're tackling the big picture problems. What's our long-term strategy? How do we optimize the entire architecture? And, this is a huge one, how do we manage security and compliance in a world that just keeps getting more complex? But of course, a big evolution like this demands a whole new set of skills. If you want to thrive, you can't just rest on what you knew before. You've got to get fluent in data analysis. You need to understand, at least on some level, how AI algorithms think. You have to master automation and scripting, And you need to be able to collaborate with the data scientists who are actually building these AI systems. But, it's not all sunshine and roses. It's never that simple, is it? This incredibly powerful technology, it doesn't just bring benefits. It also brings a whole new set of rules and, a whole new set of risks that someone has to manage. It's that classic saying, right? With great power comes new kinds of risks. And guess who's on the front lines now? The evolved engineer. It's their job to understand these new threats and figure out how to stop them. So what are we talking about? Well, here are the new frontiers of risk. You've got things like adversarial attacks, where people are actively trying to trick the AI into making bad decisions. You've got data bias. This is a big one, where if the AI is trained on bad or biased data, it's going to produce unfair results. And then there's the whole new world of data governance, making sure everything stays private, secure, and ethical. The engineer's role is shifting to become a guardian against all of this, which, brings us to the most important question of all, the one that really matters for anyone in this field, or even thinking about it. What's your next move? Are you ready for this? Because if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. The future isn't about being replaced by a machine. It's about being augmented by one. And I want to be clear, that's not just some optimistic spin. That's the core conclusion coming from the experts who are studying this shift. Being augmented just means you're using these incredible new tools to become more strategic, more valuable, and ultimately way more effective than you ever could have been before. So let's leave you with this final thought. AI itself won't take your job. But an engineer who knows how to master AI, they will. So the only real question left is, are you going to be that engineer?